Wait, who's doing the intro?
You are.
I am? Oh man, so much pressure. What's up, guys? This is Not Another Film Review. Today we are discussing Northman, and it's directed by Robert Eggers, starring Alexander Skarsgård. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking down this movie because it's definitely a unique one. Here we go. Alright, guys, so who wants to start this one off?
I'll start. So, underwhelming is my word of the day with this movie. I don't know, ever since the first trailer, I was extremely hyped for this movie. I enjoyed The Lighthouse. I was looking forward to Robert Eggers' follow-up film. You know, the trailers looked badass. It looked like we were gonna get some hardcore action scenes, Viking on Viking, just dishing it out like a gory, bloody action movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the movie, and honestly, within the first 10 minutes, I'm just like, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. I was really expecting or hoping that it would be like John Wick meets Vikings. You know, just Alexander Skarsgård going in, wrecking pretty much everything and everyone in his path, you know? But we didn't get that. We got a rendition of Hamlet, and it wasn't for me. It's been done plenty of times before. I mean, Lion King is the main one that comes to mind that's really mainstream.
Right.
And I don't know, it was a little too artsy for me. It was slow, the whole first act and a half was just slow, and the pacing was kind of off. And I don't know, it was good, it was well done, but it just not for me.
Mm-hmm. It was almost more of a play than it was a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially it was in acts and all, but as you were saying, the artisticness, the slowness of it, it's something you would probably see in a play rather than on a big screen. I know a lot of people, after watching the trailers and all, were excited for the action and for the Viking lore and everything like that, and something in the back of my mind was telling me, this isn't going to be what you think it is. Something in me just felt like I wasn't going to enjoy this movie, and sure enough, going into it, the first 5-10 minutes of it, I was like, I don't think this is going to be one for me. The color grading to me was not attractive. I know it was part of the aesthetic, but that's something I just did not enjoy, and it lasted throughout the whole movie. Up until the second half, I was lost. It was slow to me. The second half redeemed it a little bit, but definitely long, drawn out, slow.
Yeah. And see, I agree. I'm torn with this movie. I'm 50-50 because it's kind of like y'all said. This is not my type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had a conversation with someone at my work. They're like, oh, how was it? I'm like, dude, it's not an action film. And he's like, what do you mean it's not an action? I'm like, dude, it's not an action film.
Mm-hmm.
The one action scene is from the trailer when they're raiding that village. Other than that, it's a very drama, psychological, it's got a lot of depth to the story, and it's slow at times. And it's weird, I was watching reviews because I wanted to see what people were saying about it. And they're like, oh my god, it's so action-packed, it's this, it's that. I'm like, no, it got promoted wrong. I have the utmost respect for this director. Because I was watching some interviews, and the length that he went, the research, the effort he went into getting the boats right, the clothing right. He literally talked to historians and archaeologists. He went all the way. And he's done this in his other movies where it's too real. It's very slow. You're watching people almost live their everyday lives. You're watching them work. It's just a little too real.
Yeah.
Did you felt that way about The Witch? That's what you were saying.
Yeah, so have y'all seen The Witch? That was his first movie. The Witch is super slow. Like the whole movie is literally them just living their life, working out in the middle of nowhere, because it takes place in the 1600s. You know, it's the Salem witch trials basically, but you don't see the trials or nothing. It's this secluded family in the middle of the woods, and it's just them, and you just watch them work and have this relation with one another, and you see that overflow into the lighthouse, and you see that overflow into this movie. It's just,
yeah,
you know.
I completely agree. And going back to what you said with like your buddy asking you if it was an action movie, like everything that was action oriented was so short lived. I feel like as soon as it started, it was over within 90 seconds, 2 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the trailers were teasing so much like more to it that you see a lot of it in the trailers. And then with the violence of some of the things that like he does whenever he's kind of terrorizing the little village to get back at his uncle until like the right opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being such a like indie type production, I was expecting there to be, I guess, more violence. It's like they show it for like a second,
Yeah.
and then like they just pan away from it. And I get it, like it's disturbing, like people don't want to sit there and see it, but it's like I feel like you don't even get a good chance to really see it, like what it is. But I think the main thing that I have to give kudos to is just the cinematography, like the scale of it.
Right, like the effort he
the
put
production,
in.
yeah, the effort, like it is really well done in that arena. Like it looks like a big, like blockbuster type of movie.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and like it's really well done, but just an okay movie overall. Like when it comes to the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was watching some clips on YouTube, and I actually I can't remember what video it was, but I respect their opinion because it was so true. They were talking about, like, the way he uses the camera is so old school. He does lots of long shots, lots of dialogue, and this is something you see in old movies from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They were talking about Lawrence of Arabia and, like, Gone with the Wind. Like, those were very advanced for their time, used lots of practical effects that no one's ever seen before. You know, like, the closest thing we've seen in our time is probably, like, this amount of effort to put into a large-scale movie, probably be like Lord of the Rings or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it is cool seeing him bring this old-school filming into the new school style. You know, it's different, man.
Yeah.
He's definitely got his own style.
I do see the intention of the kind of psychological drama and unfolding that's happening internally for Amleth. You know, his drive to seek revenge, and he knows almost that it's his fate, that it's going to like drive him to death. And you can see him sort of struggle with that throughout the movie. You see him kind of think of releasing his revenge and not going after his uncle and all. But inevitably, in the end, you know, he chooses to follow what he sought as his fate, and, you know, it drove him to his death.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think overall, I'd probably give it like an original as far as like a rating, like kind of right in the middle of the pack. Like it's not going to stand out much. Like I don't think this will be any contention for like best picture for anything. I mean, I just don't see that, so I give it an original rating for sure.
For me, I'll go ahead and give it Buttery. I feel like this is going to be one for your average moviegoer. This is going to be way too different for them. They're going to be like, "Whoa, what?"
It's too far left field.
Yeah, it's too far. It's way different than what we've seen before. This director has a completely different style that we've never seen before. But to like people who are like, "No, you don't understand," like the message and the work, you know, I feel like to a certain niche people, they're gonna be like, put this in a vault, lock it away, this is gold.
Yeah, I
you know,
agree.
so that's why I'm giving it a Buttery, because like I do see both sides of it. Like I feel like I'm pretty much the average moviegoer. This isn't, you know, I'm not into gore. You know, I'm not into like theater, and you know, with this, the way they're talking is very theatrical. I'm not too into that. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it Butter. That's what final verdict.
I'll give this movie an original. it is kind of a taste breaker if you want a change of pace of movies you've been watching, especially if you've seen it already. You kind of know what you're getting into.
Alright guys, that's our review for The Northman, so please check in with us next time. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It really helps out. We're glad you're here. I'm sorry if The Northman didn't turn out the way you thought it was, but in our opinion it just wasn't marketed correctly. So until next time, let us know what you think. We'll see you then.